Welcome, everybody. Before I start my finals of this series of the GSC Cup, I'm going to make a quick plug because I'm sure a lot of you that are watching actually like GSC OU tournaments and, well, you know, probably want to participate in one rather than just sit on their asses, right? Or are you going to just complain about why Jinx is too hard and boo hoo hoo? So come join my Discord, my personal one, because I'm hosting the first tournament of the server. I was hoping to reach 40 members, so if a couple of people are going to join, I'd be happy. I'm going to leave a link in the description. Bye. Hey everybody, I'm a little late to recording the finals of this tournament, so some of you might already know who won the title. But I won't give any spoilers. Of course, it is a three-way finals. That means that the winner will have to win 2 sets. One against one opponent and one against the other. And each player potentially has the opportunity to play 2 sets. Usually it's the first one to win both sets. So we got Soulwind on the bottom and Sulcata. The third player would be, of course, Pojus. So the winner in this set would have to then face Pojus. Or who knows, they could all each win 1 set and that would reset. I'm not going to give any spoilers. So we got a lot to expect here. Honestly, Soulwind is... I don't really know how they play. I remember that they won the Classic, I believe it was last year, playing a pretty impressive game with in GSC using Acid Armor Vaporeon. And we saw also in the last round, the semifinals, how he brought three teams belonging to the Pirate 99, all having Rest Fortress. But how does it hold up to someone like Sulcata, who is pretty notorious for using Stall? Sulcata, mainstay, one of the people that makes it to the finals most often in GSC Cup. So if you don't count also Tony Flygon. But I don't really remember right now if Sulcata ever won the GSC Cup. I guess we'll have to see. Here we go. We got Lax on Lax lead. And in comes the Misdreavus. So Sulcata very likely bringing that same stall that they've been using in the last round. And there's the Toxic Misdreavus going to essentially attempt to stall out the T-Tar. Is Sulcata going to respect Soulwind and stay in? No, they're going to switch out. So they're not going to pull off the move that they did against Helpona. In comes the Fori and switches right back out to the Lax. So very good scout attempt there. Basically showing all of the attacking moves that T-Tar has. I would expect maybe it has Rest on the last. There's the Scarm. And maybe, now that I think about it, maybe they didn't use Earthworm's teams in all 3 matches. I remember something like this as well. This Pursuit Crunch, Flame Tar, and Thief Skarmory. Because it doesn't necessarily hold up too well against the likes of Curse Lax. Anyways, we got, especially Curse Flame. So we got Raikou in, forcing that Fori out. So Fori looks like it could be having a hard time because its main support in T-Tar is already statused. And should Sulcata get those spikes, it's going to stick. It's going to stay there for a while. So Soulwind is going to have a hard time spinning. Lax versus Lax. We finally see that Soulwind has the Curse. So it's going to be slower. They're both double-edged, though. So that means that they're both quite threatening off the bat. And usually you don't want to go 1v1 if you have Body Slam and the other guy has double edge. I guess it's up to preference. Now the T-Tar is forced to rest here, so it's going to be a sitting duck. Sulcata has 1 free turn to lay those spikes and dip out. Maybe go to Raikou, something like that, or Lax. Yeah. The Raikou threatens the Fori, and Soulwind wants to preserve Fori's life. That way, if they ever need to lay the spikes more than once, it'll have the it won't be on life support. So Miss Drevis gets roared in. I'm going to switch right out because it's just all too valuable in this matchup right now. It's your extra Curse Lax check, it's a Flame Lax check, it's a spin blocker, it's a bunch of things. Is Soulwind going to spin here? Nope, they're going to go for the spikes, and unfortunately the Fori gets paralyzed, so it's also going to be slower than Sulcata's Fortress, which could end up mattering. Raikou doing Raikou things, and they're both quite slow this time around. I don't really know if this Raikou... Yeah, so we see... okay, spoilers. So I actually saw this game already. But I didn't remember. That's why I was a little bit struck by Soulwind's team. So I saw this game, but like 10 or 20 turns of it. That's why I was kind of struck by it. So we did see that Sulcata has Roarku. So does Soulwind. And Soulwind got the Roar twice. But not only that. No, we don't see that here. Anyways, if I pick up anything else, I'll tell you. Yeah. See, the slower Roar wins in Gen 2. And this is exclusive to Gen 2. And already in Gen 3, that changes. Snorlax coming in. In comes Starmie. So there is a second potential spinner here. I would say that it's very likely a spinner. I've seen some Sub-Nightmare Starmie on stall. And let me tell you, it's not good on those teams. They lack the actual support they need. So Starmie here to, I guess, stall the Lax out of Double Edge PP, which is a strategy. Is it a great one? I'm not really sure. Because a crit will spell death for the Starmie, and pretty much also for Soulwind. He needs that spin more than he needs the Starmie to be alive. And wow, look at that. Gets a very fortunate low roll. They might have been paying more attention to the damage calculator than I have, so there's that. And mind you, the more double edges Sulcata dishes out, the more HP that Snorlax is losing. It's actually slowly going down. This Skarmory is Thief, and we have yet to see any other moves. So is it Toxic? It seems like it's Whirlwind. So 2 phasers on the team. I think Starmie... Yeah, Starmie's going to attack because it's a solid choice there. Weaken the Skarm. But it's also weakening the Lax, so good choice from Sulcata. Good choice. Putting the Lax into a percent where it has to use Rest, a crit would have actually KO'd the Lax, so that was a good call. Sulcata could spin here. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. Their Raikou checks are still quite healthy. In comes T-Tar because T-Tar appears to be able to stall this Lax. It's double-edged Sleep Talk. We haven't seen if it's Flame, but usually Sulcata's teams are a little bit more by the book. So these stall teams want to have an edge against other stall teams. But no, this one happens to have Earthquake, so it's good against T-Tar. Good on Soulwind to scout there. We're going to see now if the Skarmory has any other tricks for this Lax. No, it appears that they're just going to go for Whirlwind because it's not an impending threat. And here we're going to see something interesting. Turn 47, Sulcata's Raikou recovers HP first. Okay. And this time, Sulcata does not even attempt to roar. So Sulcata may have caught wind of the fact that their Raikou is... Look again. And again, Sulcata's Raikou recovers HP first. So that has to mean that Soulwind's Raikou is slower. And it's putting in quite a bit of work here. And for the 3rd consecutive time. So the odds are really against the possibility of Soulwind just winning a speed tie. And that's the 5th time, I think, that the roar happens. I'm going to see if in the chat they said anything. Nope, they didn't. Okay. I was expecting Sulcata to say something. So Skarm comes in. The Fori finally gets a spin. And they could be pretty safe to go for a... nope, they don't do it. They don't want to get crit. A crit would, of course, Oko the Fori, so good call. Just not giving any opportunity to the opponent to accidentally win. That's the objective. And as things are right now, I kind of give the edge to Sulcata here. Sulcata can go for a attempt to KO on the Fori. If they do, the Lax doesn't really take any toxic damage, so it was relatively safe, but they go for rest. Soulwind, respecting the Lax anyways, comes in with their own Lax, which is kind of interesting. Why not go to Skarmory? I guess because they don't have the toxic anymore. They don't want to let Fori in if they don't have to. So they're going to their own Lax, which is Curse. So it threatens, it can set up on Sulcata's Snorlax as long as it doesn't get crit. And Sulcata used quite a bit of double edges, as we already know. And now we're going to find out how Soulwind responds to this. They're going to bring in Fori, so not bringing in the T-Tar. And they may attempt to lay the spikes. No, they're going to dip and go right to the T-Tar. Good call. And they're going to pursuit the Fori. And mind you, that's 18% off of a quad resist. That's actually pretty good. That can end up mattering. But they do stay in on the Lax. Maybe over-predicting a little bit there. Going for Flamethrower on Snorlax. No physical attacks on this T-Tar. This feels very ADV from Soulwind. And now the Starmie is poisoned, so it's toxic, but it's gonna stick, and when it switches out, it'll just be regular poison. It definitely cannot stay in on Snorlax now. So Sulcata gonna jump right back to their own Fori this time. Probably lay the spikes for almost for good. The T-Tar is weakened as hell. And Sulcata gonna go to the one thing that they know threatens the T-Tar quite well, actually, without taking any risks. But then they're gonna go to their own Raikou, burn a turn maybe, and in comes another Raikou versus Raikou scenario. So we have a roar attempt, finally. And once again, Soulwind. Yeah. So now we see in the chat, you guys can't see it, but Sulcata is like, oh, he's going to say something very particular. He's like, oh, you definitely did 318 speed. Soulwind, are you sure? So, what does that mean? So, Raikou at max speed has 328, but Phaser Raikou wants to make sure that it's as slow as possible, so as to phase, yeah, you guessed it, opposing Raikou. So they usually go down to 319. The only way Sulcata can know that his opponent's Raikou is 318 is if they dropped their Raikou to 319. And the other thing is, well, 318 isn't always so convenient because you now speed tie with Gengar. That's why the lower limit is usually 319. But Soulwind out here is trying to metagame, and he's kind of being a little cheeky. He's like, are you sure that it's 318? But we saw now, and the odds kind of hint towards that the HP recovery always came after Sulcata's Raikou. The roars were always successful, and they always attacked after. So, it's Occam's razor would suggest that it is, in fact, 318. Either that or Sulcata forgot to put 319 on their Raikou. But, yeah. In comes T-Tar, which, while asleep, is pretty okay. It's not risking anything from the Misdreavus. Sulk is going to stay in. And now there's a sort of scenario where they have to decide whether to stay in or switch out because of the pursuit slash crunch scenario. Crunch does as much as pursuit on a switch out. Lax from Soulwind coming in here. And it looks like Sulcata's team is ultimately pretty healthy, all things considered. Whereas Soulwind's team is very run down. A couple status mons, a weakened Raikou, spikes are down, Fori is on life support here. And Misdreavus is going to attempt a double pursuit or whatever you call it, double protect, but fails miserably. Gonna go for a third one just to make sure that that T-Tar's HP goes down as far as possible. And unfortunately at this percent it's gonna be tough to switch out of a pursuit. But no, Soulwind's gonna stay in, click crunch, and that's a dead Missy. That's a dead Missy regardless now because of the Spadef drop. So bye-bye, and there you go. So it looks like it's easy, but it's not that easy. T-Tar can pursuit, or you can get punished just as hard for staying in. So it was a good call, but really, it doesn't matter too much if Sulcata's Fori is alive. So the Raikou is now toxicked. Who did he get toxicked by? The one mon that uses toxic, the Skarmory. So this is good for Soulwind because it puts Raikou on a timer, and that means that in so and so many turns, this Raikou is going to be forced to click rest, and that's going to give 2 free turns for Soulwind to catch up. But they phase in the Starmie. That's probably something they don't want to see. They, in this case, would be Soulwind, actually. Soulwind doesn't want that. And T-Tar gets roared in, only takes toxic damage. Sorry, only takes whatever damage, spikes damage, but gets a crit by T-Bolt. That sucks. Really aggressive play from Sulcata there. Honestly, he gets a lot of value out of it because, I mean, the T-Tar is gone. This is a free spin. I think, yeah, Sulcata would just stay in here because now the Starmie can't recover back its HP. Sulcata can attempt to go straight to Fori or something like that. Find an opportunity for those spikes to put them down again, maybe once and for all. We'll see. And let's see how many double-edged PP have been used. So just above half. And we're going to find out if this Fori has any attacks. Just goes for the spikes. Still a good opportunity to attack. Nope, that appears not to be the case. But see, in the whole process of this, Starmie is still losing HP because there's not one opportunity to go for recover. So this Fori exchange, despite losing the spikes, is still positive. A net positive for Sulcata. Snorlax is going to set up, and Sulcata is going to attempt to use Toxic, put that Lax on a timer, because they still haven't seen if this is Flame Lax, and it is in fact Flame Lax. The Missy is dead, so this is very scary for Sulcata right now. Untoxicked, +2, Curse Lax, Curse Flame Lax. So this could mean death, because it's especially a Sleep Talk Skarmory, so there's really nothing that this fella can do. All of a sudden, Soulwind is in a position to just win. If Sulcata can get this Toxic off, maybe they can phase out the Lax and hold it off a little longer. They're going to sack the Fori, meaning that the spikes are no longer safe. The Lax gets crit, and it looks like this is game. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, this is over. This game is over. Wow. Okay. I was giving the edge to Sulcata the whole time, but Soulwind was disciplined as ever to just... That's all he needed. He needed that one pursuit on the Missy. Didn't even need the spikes. And they're going to win now. Which is... that's incredible. That's incredible. Barring some sort of double crit here, but it would then just be Raikou versus the world. Yeah, yeah. Sulcata not giving up, I guess because they believe in the power of crits, but it doesn't happen. No full para, and I expect a forfeit. No, wow, still no forfeit. Okay. What a wild game. This one is a pretty satisfying stall on stall scenario, although the team is not super typical. Chance for a crit, no crit. That's it. So that's the game. That's game one. Soulwind is in the lead. So Sulcata is going to have to bring it back. They went with their Missy stall. Are they going to bring something different? How's it going to play out? Game two. We're going to try and record all of the finals here, but maybe not. We'll see. So Jinx lead on Lax. Counter. Bam. The Jinx went after that, and they just murdered that Lax turn one. What a disadvantage to be in. Sulcata switching in. The Skarm goes back to 4. He gets lefties taken away. So it's Thief, Lovely Kiss, Ice Beam, counter, Jinx. Doesn't really check the 4A, but look at how much value they got. Does that always kill? Does what always kill? Counter? Yes. I suspect that's what Sulcata is asking. Yeah, that does always kill Sulcata. Anyways, Koi getting the spikes. In comes Roar Raikou. It looks like Sulcata is going with something very similar to before. And they're in a very bad spot, losing one of the most powerful win cons in the game, that is Snorlax. So this time around, there's a slight mix-up with a T-Tar as opposed to Missy. We have a different Flamelax answer this time around. Is it going to matter? We're going to find out. So Earthquake Tar with a crit Rock Slide. Very good turn to get one as well. But it doesn't matter. Rest does rest things. But look at that. Sulcata putting the pressure with a cursed T-Tar. And now things are starting to look really scary. As the 4 is going to take a boosted Earthquake and a boosted Rock Slide as well, probably. And it's going to hurt. Never mind. Just really putting that pressure there, because whatever's coming in is going to die. Going to get murderized. Good switch to the Jinx. But look at how much +2 Earthquake does. Good lord. That was an obligatory roar, I guess, coming from Soulwind's end, because they have a double spiker. I just realized now. What the fuck? Sorry. What? Why? Okay. Double spiker, looking like a dice team or something. Anyways, weird. Yeah. This T-Tar looks like it's actually just unswitchable. You can't switch in on it, especially not with a 10% phaser. So it could pretty much win. Just Sulcata doesn't even have spikes yet, because they've been spun away. Gonna go to the 4E, probably on a rest turn. Good switch, because he suspects that this spike is gonna stick. Soulwind bringing T-Tar in on the only turn possible. But even if it's rest, in fact, rest on an offense team with T-Tar is a bit of a liability. Sulcata in the spikes advantage for now, but Soulwind has 2 spikers. That's just enough PP to tie with Starmie's Rapidsmans. Yeah. Raikou here. Raikou can do a lot right now. There are not many Pokemon that want to stay in on this should Sulcata decide to roar in. And the likelihood of a roar chain continuing is pretty much proportional to the amount of Mons that are unwilling to stay in on Raikou. But yeah, we see the Zapdos getting crit and KO'd. There's another win con gone, and that's Flamelax. So this is just, okay. Coming with the rather clutch burn. That's going to be helpful, but it still deals some nice damage to that Cloyster. Cloyster's bulky as hell. Me gets boomed on. Probably not a bad call. I don't remember the percent of Foray right now. T-Tar has to burn 2 entire turns just to get its HP back, just to be able to be functional again. And that kind of sucks because this Raikou is really threatening. And now Sulcata, I don't know. I don't think that the T-Tar is going to put in a lot of work. So Sulcata is just going to pressure with the Thunderbolts. They only have 12 T-Bolts and a couple of hidden powers. Gonna roar on that turn. That was a good roar turn. Maybe they stay in. Yeah, they do. Okay. So if they roar in the Fori again, it's probably in range. We're going to see what Sulcata is going to do with this T-Tar right now. Does it have rest as well? I'm going to set up with Curse. They could, of course, attempt to set up to a point where the burn stops mattering, because really nothing wants to stay in on this. They have rest. And the T-Tar will not wake up in time to use Roar. So Curse, Rock Slide, Rest, EQ. Very good win con. And look at that damage. Good lord. And that's a dead T-Tar. And probably a dead Lax. Flamethrower, no burn this time. Honestly, Rock Slide would probably have just killed. Doesn't matter, though. Doesn't matter anymore. Even a burn now. It's not going to matter. This is a game for Sulcata. So at the end of the day, these players have both proven that you don't need spikes to win if you have a scary enough win condition. Curse T-Tar and Curse Flamelax. Equally scary mons. They're one apiece. And we're going to see who's going to, well, prolong their tournament life. Who's going to have an edge and who's going to be able to face Pojus with a lot of confidence of actually winning the title here. We got Soulwind with the Curse Lax Body Slam and Sulcata with the Curse Double Edge Lax. Not too much to say here. Body Slam. The only thing I can say is that Body Slam likes to be paired with EQ more than it would with, say, Flamethrower for reasons. So in comes Soulwind's Cloyster and a Miltank. So Miltank is going to be Growl, very likely. Sulcata just staying right in. He's like, I'm not taking your bluff to switch to T-Tar. You're going to have to Growl this Mon if you want to get rid of it. Which is a very wise call, because look, Miltank all of a sudden is in a crit range. They're forced to use Milk Drink here. Sulcata's not going to waste PP. They're just going to go and get their spikes on early, hopefully not get parried in the process, and that's exactly what's going to happen. So Cloy is healthy. In comes Gengar, which preys upon Miltank. I guess they might double back here. No, they don't. They stay in because Miltank withdrew, and T-Tar gets hit in the face by Dynamic Punch. That's a dead Tar. Dead. Just 100%. And this Gengar will live to tell the tale. Sulcata says, no, you. Basically punishing T-Tar for being an answer to Gengar, which is sad, really. Worse than Focus Blast in Black and White. So, anyways, Steelix booming on that Zap. I wonder why. I guess because Sulcata believes that Cloyster is a good matchup here. Zapdos had the potential to kill that Lax. It was in range, just barely. It would have been a high roll. Curse Lax coming in and doubling to Eggy. Eggy is very formidable as an answer to this kind of team. I suspect Soulwind to be running a Quagsire in the back, because that looks like the kind of team they have with a Rapid Spin Cloyster. Yeah, and Miltank is there for Heal Bell support, essentially, and a contingency plan against Curse Lax. This Executor does not want to land a Sleep Powder, very reluctant to do so at least, but it's still going to live, and with a bit of health, good switch to the Lax, good double to the Lax there. In fact, an excellent double to the Lax. Soulwind is kind of forced to scrap with the Snorlax. A crit can definitely KO, but do you want to do that? Soulwind is in a really crappy spot if this is not Boom Lax. They're not going to spin because of the Gengar, so they go for the Surf, and they're going to force out the Cloy. Wow. Okay, that's an incredible choice from Soulwind there to go for Rapid Spin while facing Zap and knowing there's a Gengar, but they're like, everything counts now. It's all or nothing. So I kind of respect that. I respect that choice. You know, when you're behind, you're allowed to do whatever you want if it means putting yourself at an advantage. So this Lax gets boomed on. At this point, really the spikes are intended to put Lax on life support here. And we're going to see, yeah, man, the spikes are there to stay. So both Lax and Quaggy are pretty much donezo. Quags are being the slowest mon in the game after Snorlax. So Miltank is in a really ugly spot. They speed tie with a Zap, but they're also 2-hit KO'd by Zap, so usually. Actually, that might have been a low enough roll for Miltank to escape the 2-hit KO, yeah. And they're going to escape it again. But they're still able to be crit, and Sulcata is still able to miss. It's his game to lose now. Body Slam Paras can be annoying, but really, Sulcata just has to stay in and click buttons at this point. There's nothing coming in on this Zap. Oh, God. Nothing. Literally nothing. So, yeah. This game is pretty much won. I would honestly use a bit of Hidden Powers just not to waste all of the Thunder PP. You know, just to ease the KO. Because, look, it does a respectable 20%. Miltank... Imagine if Miltank had Rollout. If Miltank had Rollout... Oh, man. It's considered an unset. It goes for the Growl there, interestingly enough. Now it's in a definite 2-hit KO range. But no, gonna go for the Hidden Power again. Basically waste those Milk Drink PP. How many do they have? They've used half of their PP. Unfortunately, no para coming their way. So, yeah. That's a high roll. And now the Miltank needs to win the speed tie. Does not, and that is going to be game. Sulcata beats Soulwind. So, Sulcata has to defeat Pojus to win the title. Soulwind, in order to be able to win this tournament, needs Sulcata to lose to Pohjis. And Pojus also needs to beat Sulcata to get a shot at winning. Otherwise, it won't be necessary for Soulwind and Pojus to play. So we're going to move on to another set. What do we have? Okay. We're going to play this, because this is what I found. So, we got Sulcata versus Pojus. I have all these replays open, so... Okay, Sulcata just going to go for it. Going to ride that momentum. I don't remember what teams Pojus brought. I think they brought a stall team. Maybe not super exciting for some of the spectators out there because we have like 3 stall players, but they also, you know, use offense, but they definitely like their stall. Body Slam Lax, Double Edge on the Skarmory. So, Pojus is probably a little bit nervous. We got Curse Skarm and Gengar from Sulcata. This could be a repeat of last team with the, what was it? I already forget. It had Gengar, Cloyster, Eggy, and Steelix. Very strong team coming in on stall. If it does turn out to be that, we didn't really see what set the Snorlax had. I think we saw maybe a curse. Yeah, we saw a curse. We didn't see if it had a fourth, if it had Sleep Talk, EQ. I suspect if they're staying in that it's not EQ lax. I think it's just mono lax at this point, probably. Pojus likes his Whirlwind Skarmory, so I think this is a Whirlwind set. Could be wrong, actually, because they haven't clicked it until now. There's no reason to do that because you would unnecessarily be exposing yourself. So expect to see a Sleep Talk this turn. Nothing, never mind. Okay. Pojus going for that, but they feel rather safe. Gonna go for a T-Wave. T-Wave, okay. Now, if Pojus' team has Marowak, that could be very good. The T-Wave there. Otherwise, I'm not really sure what it plays into. We do see the Eggy going for Hidden Power. So Pojus has a T-Tar. Okay, so the T-Wave could be helpful for that. That's a good, probably an offensive T-Tar. There you go. I don't think I ever saw D-Punch T-Tar on stall, but it's really good for that initial damage on Lax. Great even against Curse Lax. So we do, Pojus does manage to scout a move. And they're relatively safe for now. Of course, a Boom would be very good on this turn. Or pretty good, at least. We don't really know if that Raikou is Sleep Talk, so maybe you want to guarantee your chances at... Yeah, Sulcata going for the aggro move. They're gonna... They better not full para. Yeah, okay. Well, it probably isn't... what's it called? So they go for D-Punch, probably expecting to hit T-Tar. The T-Tar is probably not Pursuit. We see Fire Blast Lax. So there's a lot to unpack in those last couple of turns. The Gengar play, basically trying to defend the spikes, but it full paras. Pojus switching out, so it's almost certainly not Psychic because Mono Psychic loses to T-Tar, Umbreon, and Houndoom. But the T-Wave is going to play out for Pojus, at least in the sense that it's going to be able to help T-Tar maybe to KO this Gengar or some other Mon. In Gen 2 with Max DVs, Starmie always outspeeds Gengar. There's no... for the ADV fans out there. So Eggy going to come in. Eggy with Hidden Power Fire is going to be very good into Pojus' team if they just find the right opening. But Raikou is very scary because it could be Sleep Talk, Hidden Power Ice. And Sulcata probably made a good call to switch out there because that para would have definitely crippled the Exeggutor permanently. So Sulcata is going to go for another aggro play here. T-Bolt doing just more than what Recover can actually replenish. So good boom. That was a good boom, actually, because those spikes are likely going to stay. And anyways, you still have a very annoying Pokemon out of the way, which is Starmie. So, yeah, a good Stallmon out of the way. The Flame Lax is kind of scary. It's actually Fire Blast, but yeah. Fire Blast dealing a lot more to Steelix, dealing more to Gengar, stuff like that. So, pretty interesting. As Sulcata has two electric checks that really don't like the Fire Blast from Snorlax, so this could be a boom turn. Gonna go for the Sleep Powder instead. So Sleep Powder, HP Fire, could be Psychic and Explosion, probably. Yeah. No, I mean, without the probably, it's like, okay. Skarmory is, in fact, Whirlwind, but that was only confirming what we already knew. Sulcata going to take the opportunity to heal up. Probably, ooh, Ancient Power. Pojus coming in with the heat. Ancient Power. Imagine Ancient Power and something like Crunch. Oh, Lord. There's the boost. But what do they have to hit Steelix with? They have a freaking Oko move is what they have. They have Fire Blast, but it misses. So Sulcata caught a huge break there because it would have been ugly as hell to face a boosted T-Tar. Outspeeding the Zap, outspeeding the Cloyster, being able to KO everything. That was basically a win con. That was a winning turn in every other parallel universe. But in this one, Sulcata will live to tell the tale. And so it looks like it could actually be Rest Talk. Body Slam, Fire Blast, Rest, Sleep Talk. Maybe. Because at least or Rest and Curse. Kind of susceptible to Neo King as a team, though. We're going to have to see. We're going to have to wait and see because Sulcata can't seem to land a hit that actually matters on this Snorlax. So, yeah. Zapdos staying in, and you know what? It's probably good to stay in. It's not Double Edge, and Double Edge is like the only thing that really forces a 3-hit KO on the Zap, and as long as Zapdos is asleep, I mean, Body Slam fails to 3-hit KO. It just barely 4-hit KOs. So we finally got a nice, they got a nice crit, and now they're going to see. So Curse EQ Lax doesn't really threaten this team all too much. Hoping for the double there, for the switch to Skarmory. It attempts to double. At least gets some value with Sleep Powder on what appears to be a not Sleep Talk Lax. Are they going to boom? No, because T-Tar's definitely coming in on that turn on an HP Fire Sleep Powder. Already expended my Sleep Powder Executor set. So yeah, T-Tar going for the heat. Because Dynamic Punch deals a frick ton. It doesn't have to be a phaser if you have an offensive T-Tar. Dynamic Punch deals with all that attack, all that meat that T-Tar's packing. It deals like 60%, maybe more on Lax in one hit. So even if it is Curse. So I don't think it has Screech. Because by now it definitely would have used it. I think something along the lines of maybe a Pursuit last, maybe Crunch, maybe EQ. Yeah. So the EQ is nice on Pojus' Raikou. Not sure why they didn't stay in. Might have been a slight overpredict there. Staying in with Lax would have been huge because there was an opportunity to crit Oko the Raikou. Honestly, Pojus' team does not want to see Zapdos free to just spam Thunder, so which it hasn't used one of except through Sleep Talk. So that's pretty interesting. Now Raikou's free to spam the hell out of Thunder, but they're going to go to T-Tar. T-Tar maybe to catch the jump on something, or just because the Lax being forced to use Rest is going to take a lot of damage here. So Steelix takes, look at that, Steelix, the Juggernaut, still takes 33% from a Dynamic Punch, and it's not even like, oh lord. Crit, Fire Blast. Yeah, that was probably a good Toxic. Good Toxic on that T-Tar. Surf would have been nice as well, honestly, but yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I'm thinking that if they got an Ancient Power boost now, they basically won, even if the T-Tar was poisoned. So maybe Surf was nicer. Zapdos forced out. Cannot stay in to use Rest. Luckily, Steelix, they make the right call. They have an Eggy, they have a Steelix, so they're bound to make a good switch on Hidden Power, but, you know, HP Ice. Eggy, no boom. Still so much resolve from Sulcata not to click boom. They got the biggest threat out of the way right now, and they have a scary Eggy, a scary Steelix, and a potentially very scary Lax. So no spikes either. So they haven't seen a Fortress come in, and why wouldn't it have up until now, right? I don't think Pojus has a spiker for some reason. So yeah. Yeah, because by now the spikes would have done so much work. And if they didn't reveal spikes, it just doesn't make sense to me. So Zapdos gets parried. That's probably a dead Zap. But no. Sulcata's like, no. No, it's not a dead Zap. I'll bring it back. I'll figure out a way. I'm going to set up on you. That's how. I'm going to force you to switch to Skarmory. And then I'll get a rest. Oh, Lord. Oh, God. Oh, it's Marowak. Yeah. Okay. Ooh. Scary as hell. What are they going to do? My, oh my. Ancient Power Marowak, too. Pojus just going for the cash, man. Cash play. They have to switch out Eggy. They need that Eggy to beat the Marowak. Just to outspeed it once. So Sulcata has to hope for no Omni Boost. Gonna Curse. Curse is definitely gonna help it stay in on Marowak. And also gonna force out the Skarm. Gonna deal spikes damage to whatever comes in here. Fire Blast, but Marowak's Fire Blast is worse than Snorlax's. And now suddenly, Marowak is very weak. Eggy. Eggy is, remember, HP Fire. So Pojus goes to Raikou, of course, which does not kill this Lax. Is Sulcata just going to attack or set up? What are they going to do? Going to use Rest. Okay, I like it. I like it. They have this Zapdos to basically burn if Pojus ever decides to go to Skarmory. Marowak. Or to Skarmory. Oh, are we going to see a Skarmory kill a Zapdos? No, we're going to see a Skarmory kill an Eggy. Very interesting. But probably the right call to make if no full para? No full para. Okay. Wow. Suddenly, the tables have turned. Pojus was in the lead the whole time. Sulcata had to scrap his way out. And now, Raikou is facing a scary-ass Lax and a scary-ass Zapdos. And their Marowak is at 30% and does not have Rest. Basically, Skarmory has to force in the Zap by forcing out Lax. So using Curse there, Sulcata is in a prime position to just threaten this Raikou with the spikes and all that. Gets an EQ. Pojus can hope for a full para, maybe click Rest. Gonna do just that. It's a Sleep Talk Raikou after all, but no. Crit. Gets crit into oblivion. They have to get a Sleep Talk Rest turn. They don't get it. This Raikou is Dunzo. Is the Zapdos asleep? That's the only chance at victory here. It is asleep, but it's going to wake up the next turn. They need an Ancient Power boost and a full para. They have one more shot to get it. Otherwise, Sulcata is going to be on the board. Another full para. They have just one more opportunity. They can't go for EQ. They need to get that boost, but they don't get it. This is over. The game is concluded at this point. Sulcata defeated Soulwind, and they're one game away from victory here. Because this is pretty much done, guys. Let's face it. It's over. Okay. We're going to move on to game 2. Pojus needs to win 2 games. Needs to win 2 games to beat Sulcata and to have a chance at victory. And also just to make sure that Sulcata just doesn't go and steamroll everyone. Because Sulcata can taste blood right now. We got Lax on Lax lead. I think like last turn. This time the tables have turned. We see a Thief Skarm from Pojus. and a T-Tar with Rock Slide. Maybe it's EQ. Lack's going to come in, probably a Sleep Talker. Also just a good all-around switch if they ever choose to go to, like, I don't know, Starmie. Anyways, Raikou on Raikou. Boy, do these folks love their Raikou, huh? And their stall teams. So we see this T-Tar, we see these Lacks. Why is it so hard to remember Sulcata's teams? We saw this team already. It's the cursed one, I think. And it has rest. So the Thief isn't going to be too vital. The Lax, probably Sleep Talk, never mind. I don't remember. I don't know. Fori T-Tar really synergize very well with each other. Fori going for an early Toxic, just crippling the fuck out of Pojus' Starmie. That's it. It's like, I'm done with your shit. I'm going to put this on a timer turn 1. As soon as you come in with that Starmie that I didn't even see yet. Skarmory is going to have a hard time dealing with Lax and T-Tar because it's a Thief Skarm. It already stole those lefties, but besides that, it's not going to hold up to the onslaught of physical offense that Sulcata is bringing here. And look at that. All that double-edged damage is probably going to stick. Sulcata just waiting. When can I deal my damage? When can I lay my spikes and all that jazz? So, gets those spikes. Probably going to go to something like Raikou here. Lax is also fine because it's, after all, it is likely a T-Wave. Starmie is Pojus probably bringing the same team, just mixing up a couple of the sets. Yeah. So the Skarmory is forced to rest. So Thief, Toxic, Whirlwind, Rest definitely does not beat Last Mon Lax. So Pojus is banking on winning the early to mid game because this is going to lose the late game against this formidable stall team. Not to mention Cursed T-Tar is just a beast. So Starmie either forfeits the spikes and takes damage, or sorry, forfeits the spikes to recover, or takes damage and spins them away. But now Starmie can't really stay in and spam recover. So yeah, good choice to go to Miltank there. So looking like the classic old Borat, Miltank, Marowak team. Maybe some alterations. Like Cursed Thunder, I believe, on Snorlax. I'm not a huge fan of Cursed Thunder. I kind of like my Drumlax more. Turbo. We call it Turbolax. The good GSC connoisseurs. Raikou just staying in. Like, Sulcata couldn't give two shits about that Miltank. That's what he says. I don't give a fuck. Your Starmie is on life support. I have a Lax here that probably, a T-Tar that probably beats your Lax. I'm going to pound you. Never mind. Oh, God. Okay, I didn't see this coming. Oops. Yeah, this looking like the Drum Lax from Pojus. So he's going with the classic set there. But Fori, classic minus the Skarmory. Fori, if it gets a nice Toxic on the Starmie, which they're probably going to attempt right now exactly, then Starmie is basically approaching its death. Hidden Power Fire plus Toxic. Excellent tech. Hitting everything that resists Toxic super effectively, minus, of course, Gengar and Nidoking. But basically everything that doesn't take neutral, or basically everything that resists Toxic is weak to fire. So, yeah. Besides Nidoking and Gengar. So, Skarmory coming in. Drill Peck. This is probably more by the book. Again, this Skarmory is probably something along the lines of Sleep Talk, like we, I think, saw in that first game. Or maybe it's the Whirlwind set. I can't remember. No, this is Whirlwind for sure. Oh, Lord. Pojus bringing the literal heat with Body Slam, Earthquake, Fire Blast. Is it even like... Is it Boom? He's not going to Boom. Even if it is Boom, he's not going to Boom on Lax. He needs to beat the Skarmory. Or does he? I mean, the Skarmory is paralyzed, so one setup opportunity, and that Marowak is already in a good spot. But 25% on the Raikou plus another 14 for his troubles. And suddenly Raikou is forced to rest. What's Sulcata going to do? Curse? Nope. Roar? Probably. Roar shenanigans? Yep. Nice. And that's up to 2 Mons that don't want to see this legendary dog's ugly face. I'm just kidding. I love Raikou. Skarmory. I've been commentating for an hour now. 1 hour, just uninterrupted. GSC galore. Double edge, so we see the attack from the Lax. And Pojus is spamming Thief. There aren't that many opportunities for Marowak to come in, which is Sulcata's saving grace here. So as long as he preserves his own Roar Raikou by going to Lax, essentially, and trying to win it in the 1v1, there's EQ. Well, as long as he does that, then he's in a good spot because he can't really... Pojus can't bring in Marowak, so they won't be able to actually make any net positive move with the Marowak, even though the Skarmory is paralyzed and they would have the potential to just sweep. But Fori is also kind of scary. Are they going to talk? Nope, they're going to go to Lax here. Does Lax wake up this turn? Yes, it does. Crit? Nope. We've been seeing lots of these games. In the 4 games we've seen up until now. And also in this game. I mean, not lots, but 1 in 16 odds of happening in Gen 2. I've heard that in more modern generations, they've lowered it to something else. But yeah, this is it. This is a completely hectic tier. Crits happen 1 out of 16 times, and they do double damage, and they negate stat boosts and shit like that. They don't negate the stat boosts that you have. They never do that, like in Gen 1, because that's some jank. Fori para'd, but doesn't really matter. Starmie is toxic for good. Gonna lay those spikes because Starmie is gonna take increasingly more damage. It's toxic after all, so it's gonna die from Lax this turn if it stays in. Especially after a crit, because crit pretty much OHKOs most of the time. And another crit because Sulcata is a monster. Raikou, just perfect switch in there. Perfect turn, honestly. The phasing, the Sleep Talk Raikou, phasing it out. All right. It's slower. The Sleep Talk Raikou is faster. Lax coming in here. Body Slam, less of an issue. So the Lax is probably going to rest. Yep. Good turn. Good discipline from Pojus there. Not giving up. They should probably just... I would just go to Marowak right now. Oh, it's not Curse. Forgot. Still, I would try to go to Marowak. If you just wait for Marowak to do things, it's never going to happen. I don't know. Because it looks really dire right now. Dead, Dead Starmie, I mean. What? You didn't bring in Marowak on that turn? Why not? It's at 100%. You force in a sleeping Lax and a paralyzed Raikou and a paralyzed Skarm. And you have a chance to even crit Starmie or whatever's in the back. I disagree. I disagree with that. Disagree. Strong disagree. You get the chip. You whatever. Because now spikes are gonna be a problem, and you still have the issue of Marowak never being able to come in. Honestly, you need to use Marowak kind of like a Machamp. Still doesn't go to Marowak. Oh, okay, there we go. Holy shit, that's actually pretty sick. Drum motherfucker Lax. So we gotta call this motherfucker Lax because it's drum 3 attacks. Just like I will murder you. Yup. But this is dead now, so. What did I just see? Okay, that set was swag as hell. But why did they go to Skarmory? Oh, because Skarmory doesn't matter anymore. That's why. That makes sense. Okay. Nice. I understand. Honestly, okay. You know what? Holy shit. I take back everything I said. Like, everything I said. All those choices really mattered. Because now we're going to see... What? Okay. Yeah, sure. Oh, God. Well, that fucking sucked. Thunder miss. No. Pojus, I'm sorry. I really think he should have used Marowak, though. He had an amazing opportunity. He still does. Probably just waiting for the para or the rest. At this point, just spam hidden power, bruh. Sorry. Sorry for... I'm kind of tired. Okay. So, okay. Interesting. Doesn't want to roar. Makes sense. Goes to Skarm. Burn a turn. Good call. I didn't see that, but that was smart because he's like, okay, Pojus has a chance to set up with Marowak. I need one turn to survive. I need this turn to successfully Whirlwind or whatever the hell I'm going to do. Okay, they're just going to stay in. Interesting. Okay. That's so... Oh, my God, that's so big-brained. But that's also a potential death sentence because now a Thunder is going to stick. A para is going to mean death. Marowak doesn't want to stay in. Going to roar again. Honestly, I might have just clicked Earthquake there and won the game. Oh, man. Marowak is going to die now. Now there's no mix-up. Now, okay, good toxic, but Marowak is dead now. So now you just click Hidden Power. I don't care. Marowak's dead. And yeah, fuck. Like, that was something. Jeez. This doesn't have boom. Sulcata is doing something. Oh, I know what Sulcata is doing. Sulcata is wasting PP of the opponent. Losing time on the timer because of his connection. Let's hope it doesn't come to some sort of awkward situation, but I kind of I don't see a universe where Pojus wins anymore. I think they were a little bit, a tad, tad underwhelming with that pressure. Just a teensy bit. Like they could have found maybe one opportunity to just throw an EQ out there, probe the response out of Sulcata. There was so much work though going into this game and those other games. Damn. Oh, but there's a chance. No. Honestly, crunch spadef drop means there's still a possibility to win. But there's only 5 thunders left. Okay, hang on a sec. What's going on? Yeah. Okay, Shandor. Excuse me, gentlemen. I need to, there's a postman. I need to address that. And I'm in my pajamas, so I gotta change myself and all that shit. Oh, wow. What an anticlimactic ending. You can vote to see who you think wins the tournament. Sorry, guys. Um, I couldn't have. There couldn't have been a worse delay, like a worse time to delay everything. I think earlier would have been okay. Um, yeah. All right. This game isn't over. There's a chance that this goes to game 3. So Raikou on Raikou. Sulcata is always slower, eternally slower. Gonna get some roar damage there. Not on Skarmory, but on the Raikou. Because it's good because you also get HP back. You don't use important attacking PP. And Pojus can't actually respond except with their own switching. So, well, I mean, they can. They did, in fact, go for a Toxic on a turn where Sulcata clicked Roar once, but it's very risky. Sulcata also getting HP back, knowing that this Fori is a get out of jail free card if there's any special defense drop. So, being ever a wise player, in every scenario so far, we've seen so much Raikou that it might just get its third rank back in the OU VR. I'm kidding. It's probably not going to happen. But Sulcata, Pohjis, and Soulwind have taken a liking to this tiger dog. I think it's a tiger. It kind of screams tiger, wild cat, more than it does dog. Really. You can argue otherwise, but you're wrong. So we got some crunch, cinnamon toast crunch, and sulcata oats and honey. Rorku, Fori again with the potential for some damage on Skarm with HP Fire, or just the do nothing move with 64 PP. That is correct. Rapid Spin. So Pojus kind of running short, running out of options, needs more of that. But only 4 crunches left, and Raikou, well, Sulcata is not attacking, because Raikou at full can't use rest. I mean, it can, but it will just fail. So Pojus has to bank on outlasting a Mon that isn't really attacking all that much. Just every now and then, just to be like, hey, I'm gonna kill you sooner or later if you don't do something. Good Toxic turn. Of course, Sulcata could have just clicked Thunder, but that doesn't really win him the game. The roadblock is the other Raikou. So each Mon, each team person, relying on their Steel type actually to waste the opposing Raikou's time. This may not look fascinating, and sure, it's not pretty. I'll give you that. But you play to win. And you got to learn how to do this too. You got to understand what your tools are. And let me run this through you for a second. So we got 9 rests. That's a potential for like 3 turns each. And that definitely is more than what Pojus' Raikou has right now. Sleep Talk doesn't necessarily contribute all that much to the PP. So if you use it as an empty move, or if you use it as a rest reset, the most it can offer you is an extra 2 turns each. And then there's, the attacks, which there are only 4 of left. So if Sulcata starts staying in and doesn't attack, then the Raikou is kind of forced into using the last of its PP, which is something he may try to do, which is why he's going to Fortress. Even if he takes a Thunder, it's already paralyzed. It's just wasted PP. Sulcata is going to click Roar, fair, and they're going to go right back to Fori. There's no move that actually KOs this Fori. Thief doesn't even negate the lefties. Fori's just going to gain HP back. Going to spam the hell out of the do nothing move, which is rapid spin. Doesn't even negate Raiku's HP. Barring a crit, of course. Shoutouts to the Struggle versus Leftovers movie I made. It was a short film I made back in like 2019. Anyways, back to us. Fori, all that good stuff. So we're going to speed things up now. I'm not going to force you guys to endure this. We're going to click moves. So we have 0 sleep talks left from Pojus Raikou, but still 6 rests. And 8 rests from Sulcata. And Pojus concedes because at this point it's simple math. And when you reduce the game to simple math, that's pretty much game over. So Sulcata, congratulations, is the winner of GSC Cup 8 2022. I don't really remember. Since we're here, let's have a little glimpse at history. Go back a bit. Let's see what we got, Who were the past winners of, I can't spell today, the past winners of the cup. So we're going to do this so you guys can also see what I see. And yeah. So we're going to GSC Cup 7. Ah, yes, I remember. Altina, the ADV main, hacking the shit out of Tony Flygon and then making an awkward win post. I remember that was a shit show. Sulcata won GSC Cup 6. See, so they're no stranger to this kind of victory. And let's see. Let's go further back in history to GSC Cup 5. Who won that one? Ah, yes, the very famous Smogon Classic 5 won by McMegan. Yep. And of course, we're going to have to look at something else. Ah, of course, yeah. Lavos won GSC Cup 5. That makes sense. Okay. Then we're going to go back to the GSC Cup 8 and look at the win post. See if you guys are familiar. Jimmy Turtwig. Okay. I'm learning because I didn't quite remember. I didn't really go so far back to look at these older cups. GSC Cup 3 won by a certain guy named Lavos Spawn. No idea who that is. Tsunami. These names are more and more unfamiliar. Malekith. Malekith rings a bell. All right, so back to us, right? So we have our nice little GSC Cup. I'm more than a little bit behind with this, but yeah, 4 days-ish. And what do we have? This has become more of a mantra at this point. Unfortunately, it doesn't begin to describe my series. And it's a quote to the letter of the biggest rage post of all gaming history. And now it's more like a blessing, I guess, more of a prayer, more something that people smile at and get all, they get all warm and fuzzy for, and look at all those people that are just happy, 32 likes and all that shit. So congratulations for Sulcata, to Sulcata for winning for the second time the GSC Cup, and good luck to all of you next year. And good luck also for the Smogon Classic. I don't know which between Pojus and Soulwind are going to make it into the Classic, but knowing them, they probably are also qualifying for the Smogon Classic because of the players that they are. So, yeah, they're astounding. There you go. So Pojus is already qualified because they won ADV Cup. I don't even think that's like a top 3 main tier, top 5 main tiers. This is like a, yeah. Anyway, it's what it is. We got, so that technically means that Soulwind automatically qualifies through GSC Cup as a second finalist because Pojus is qualified in ADV Cup. Let's see who else is going to make it into the Smogon Classic. Luigi, okay. Can you hurry up? I gotta go and walk my dog. That Luigi. And McMegan is making it in as well as Gary the Gengar and all those other guys in RBY Cup. Then there's DPP Cup, but RBY Cup isn't finished. Markop is in. This is going to be a hype as fuck Smogon Classic. Jeez Louise. All right. Am I forgetting something? No, that's it. So those are the players. And basically 2 for each. And then some more. I don't know. I forget how Smogon Classic works every year. Anyways, I'm pretty sure it's 16 players. I hope you guys enjoyed. This has been a whopping hour and 20 minutes. So, yeah, if you liked this series, consider subscribing, leaving a like. And if you haven't yet seen the previous videos, what are you doing? Go and check them. Because I may have actually helped one of the players build teams for the semifinals. I'll leave you to decide who that is, or to find out who that is. Anyways, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed, and toodles.